Behind the Bitch Check-In. It's a Behind the Bitch Check-In. It's a Behind the Bitch Check-In. You don't know what's going on if I don't check in. So it's a Behind the Bitch Check-In. Okay, so I opened up my email yesterday morning, and the Discover Pods email was there, and it said, who won? So you had to follow a link and find out who won. And it turns out, by looking at this thing in the corner here, I won the best interview style podcast. Behind the Bits is #1. And it's #1 because you voted. I mean, it had to be a decent podcast to get in the finals, but y'all voted, and I appreciate it. That means you actually took the time to vote. You told your friends to vote. You told your family to vote, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Basically, I think what I get from this is the JPEG you see right there, and the fact that Dax Shepard is right there, little beside my logo behind the bits. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank everybody who voted because there were so many. I can thank everybody who did the telethon with me. I had people show up that I didn't even know, and they did sets and voted and helped me out, and I'm over the moon. I don't get super excited, but I'm over the moon on this, and it'll help me, I think, with guests. It already, people are checking out the podcast. I had a pretty big surge of listeners since yesterday, so that is really good. But yeah, that's a big announcement, right there. Best interview style podcast of 2020. Behind the Bits, beat out Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, WTF, and a bunch of others. So I am A1 stoked that people voted. I can't stop thanking you. Thank you for voting. I just know that if anybody was voting for a podcast and they were voting for, say, the best overall podcast, and they wanted to vote for everything else, my podcast, Behind the Bits, was not going to stick out to them. It was going to be one of them that they know that's a household name, and they would click on that. So I didn't even think that I had a chance, to tell you the truth, but apparently I did because you all voted. And golly, that just makes me happy. So thank you for the votes. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Hopefully we'll get some new listeners and new friends and new people to interview. So I'm stoked about that. I've got other stuff going on too. The Robert G. Lee episode came out today. And as I always say, it's a good one. So Robert has been a comedian for over 30 years, and he's also a writer. He's written scripts, had a movie made, but really what he has done for a lot of his career is being that warm-up comic for sitcoms. I can't remember the names of all the sitcoms, but there's a heck of a lot of sitcoms that he did. And Norman Lear absolutely loves him and asks him to do all his sitcoms. And it turns out that warming up an audience is a lot more than what you think, because a half-hour episode can take a lot of hours to do. It can take 8 hours to film a half-hour episode. And in between takes, Robert has to go up and do his thing. So that means he's there doing his thing. And so we talked about that. And it's, you know what? It's really cool and it's a living. So everybody wants to make a living doing what they love, and he got to do that. And he's also got a book coming out. And if you check out the podcast notes, it's in there. So that's out today, and I'm stoked about it. This Thursday is going to be bonkers. So I've got everybody I know, people I know IRL. That means in real life. So I've got Jason Staples, Dan West, and Jim Kliss. So Jason and Jim are two of the first people I ever saw doing comedy when I started doing open mics and stuff like that. And Dan was a little bit later on, but he's been on the show and he's been interviewed on the podcast and all that stuff. I've actually sat in on a couple of Jason's podcasts. Jason and Mike Hollinger do one together called Weird Awesome. So I've been there, and hopefully Steve shows up. So it'll just be a bunch of people I know. And I got to tell you, if there's going to be an episode where I get roasted, this is going to be the one because Jim's a good roaster, Jason's a good roaster, and Dan's a good roaster. So Thursday is going to be nuts. And I'm really looking forward to it. I will be drinking, of course, and I think I'll probably hit up the whiskey instead of the beer because I got to watch the calories. My belly's starting to get big. But yeah, that's what we got going on this week. I've got a couple things that I'm thinking about, and a couple other things that I want to do, but I'm kind of really gonna try to do as much as I can for the podcast. I actually had a publicist contact me after I won this award, so I'm going to talk to them tomorrow about possibly booking some of their people. I've looked and I see some of the actors he's the publicist for, and they're pretty big actors. So hopefully the comics will follow along and be cool too. So yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I won. I changed the header on the Facebook site. I changed the header on my website so that below it shows that we won this best interview style podcast. And I can't tell you how happy I am. My wife's bringing home a special dinner tonight. We decided not to do a special dinner last night because I was doing somebody else's podcast, Mind Dog, Mind Dog TV. Check that out. And do I still have his thing up here? I don't think I do. Anyway, check out Mind Dog TV, that podcast. It's on the YouTube and on the Spotify and other places. But yeah, I did a little over an hour with Matt Napo yesterday, and that was cool. And I'm a little worried. I got a sore throat, so I'm a little worried, and haven't been out much, but hopefully I feel better. Um, Looks like Jim's watching. Jason Staples, who's going to be in the show, he gave me a heart, and I got a thumbs up, so that's cool. Yeah, so that's what I got going on. My wife is bringing us home dinner from the what's it called, Bantam Diner, which is in South Bend, and um, makes the best fake chicken sandwich out of cauliflower that I've ever had. And so she's bringing me the cauliflower breaded chicken thing that's not chicken. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys Thursday for sure because that's going to be a show. If you haven't watched a BTB Internet Talk Show or you haven't watched one for a while, this is going to be the one to watch because I'm just going to get lambasted, however you pronounce it. I just know it. I can feel it, and I won't be able to do anything about it. And I've heard that Eugene from Smyrna is trying to hack my account. So who knows? He may show up. That weirdo, that conspiracy theorist. So Thanks for voting. I really appreciate it. And obviously, keep listening. And I just, I'm, I never thought that this could happen. I mean, I lobbied hard for it, but I lobby hard whenever I'm in any kind of a contest because I'm competitive. But yeah, that was cool, and a lot of people showed up for me, and I appreciate it. Kimberly says congratulations, thank you, and just it was great to be nominated, and it was great to be among those finalists. But man, winning, that's nuts. Um, Yeah, I can't find that link. Never mind. So we still got to vote for this chipmunk, and I totally kind of threw that aside to do this voting thing for the Discover Pods Awards. So somewhere on the Facebook page is a link to vote for the chipmunk name, and I looked at the results, and so far, like seven of them have one vote. No, eight of them have one vote each, and that's an eight-way tie, and we can't have that. So I'll be sharing that so that you can do that. Maybe we'll do a big finish at the BTB Internet Talk Show on Thursday. We'll just reveal a winner, and I'll put that link out there and get people to vote. I think I can only get 40 votes. I can only look at 40 votes because it's a free version of something. I'm certainly not going to pay to do one stinking poll. So yeah, so we'll get at least 40 votes, and we'll get a name. Somebody will get some merch, and I'll have to find somebody to do some merch, but that'll all happen. So thanks for listening. Thanks for voting. I can't tell you how happy I am to see a little tiny Dax Shepard next to my great big behind the bits thing here. That's cool. That's Dax. Hey, Dax Shepard. Remember when you were doing that show with Ashton Kutcher that was like candid camera? Well, now look at that. Look at that. Behind the bits wins. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sleepy, so I'm gonna get out of here and wait for my dinner to arrive that I don't have to cook tonight. And we'll see you Thursday. And I'll talk more about this crazy award on Thursday. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. It's only going to get better from here. Bye bye.